Good morning. Ooh, it's loud. This is a vibrant and busy time at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. So before we formally begin our worship service, we invite you to lend your attention to a few brief announcements that will let you know about some ways to get involved in the life of the church. On each Sunday, we light candles in the sanctuary and along the windows to mark sacred moments in our lives. You are invited to light candles during the prelude, musical meditation, or the postlude, which are designated with an asterisk in your order of service. Chalice Camp is coming. Sign up now to secure your child's spot by tomorrow, May 25th. The kids love this fun community that is intentionally designed for spiritual and faith development. This year, we're connecting our values to our actions. Sign up on the registration page on Church Center or Speak to Soul. Camp is June 1 through 5th, 9 to 4. We are thrilled to let you know that this year's auction raised $11,122, exceeding our goal of $10,000. And the big party and improv show were fun for everyone. Yeah, that was really fun. Many, many thanks to Jillian Redfern, Shannon Posern, and all who made it such a success. Next Sunday at 3 p.m., First UU will host Voces Olvidadas, Forgotten Voices, a powerful concert presented by Unwound Sound and featuring the First UU Adult Vocal Ensemble. The program includes the world premiere of a work by Colombian composer Jose Martinez and a new collaboration between Zell Miller and Brent Baldwin. Admission is free, with donations benefiting the Austin Sanctuary Network. Each Sunday, one of our caring companions is designated to be available at the front of the sanctuary after the service to listen to any immediate pastoral needs and assist you with connecting to additional pastoral support if you would like. Today's caring companion is Tony Wegner. Tony, there she is. So you can easily identify her after the service. Now, let all who have gathered in beloved community, whether in virtual space or in person, join our spirits in worship together.
Good morning. Whether you're joining us online or here at the church, welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. We are a spiritual community dedicated to a free and responsible search for truth, meaning, and beauty. I'm Reverend Chris Jimerson. I am white, in my early 60s. My pronouns are he, him. I am lead minister here at the church. It is a joy to be with you today. I especially want to welcome you if you're new to the congregation. If you're joining us remotely, and if you can, please say hello in the comments and let us know from where you're watching the service. If you're here in person, please join us for the social hour after the service. Either way, we invite you to fill out our online visitor form at austinuu.org. Just click on worship, scroll down to the link to that visitor form, and then if you would fill that out, we would love to get to know you just a little bit better. Our service today will be about the dreams this congregation has recently expressed to our Board of Trustees for living our faith in our lives and our world. We capture that through something we call ends statements. Our board president, Karen, and I will ask and answer a set of questions as our sermon later, which will let you know all about this exciting vision for what comes next at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. Here we welcome everyone, every beginning and path, every beautiful expression of human flowering, all pronouns, all the ways and ones we love, all abilities and disabilities, each and every one of you. You are welcome here. You belong here. We come from a long tradition of sensing that an ocean of divine love flows through each of us. And it's in that tradition, our living tradition, that I invite you to greet the holy among us this morning, either in the comments online or by turning to those around you here at the church.
Hello again. I'm Margaret Borden, a white woman in my late 70s with very short salt and pepper hair, glasses, and wearing a red dress with white vines and butterflies and flowers all over it. My pronouns are she, her. Please join me in the words by which we light our chalice. This is the flame we hold in our hearts as we strive for justice for everyone. This is the light we shine upon systems of oppression until they are no more. This is the warmth we share with one another as our struggle becomes our salvation. Our call to worship this morning is a quote from Rabbi Stephen Wise. Vision looks inward and becomes duty. Vision looks outward and becomes aspiration. Vision looks upward and becomes faith. Please rise now, either in body or spirit, and let us sing together hymn number 396 from the gray hymnal. I know this rose will open, and we will sing it through twice.
Through twice. We'll do it kind of straight the first time, and then if the second pass, we get some spontaneous rounds going. Surprise me. Here we go. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Good morning. My name is Karen Neely. I am still, for another week, your board president. And I am an elderly female wearing a flowered shirt and blue pants. One of the things that binds First UU together as a religious community is that the congregation has a common purpose. For First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin, that common purpose is the mission. The congregation wrote it together and put it on the wall in the sanctuary. Every Sunday, church participants say it together so that we may more readily carry it with us in our hearts through the week. Let us say it together now. Together, we nourish souls, transform lives, and do justice to build the beloved community.
I can change the world with my own two hands, make it a better place. With my own two hands, make it a kinder place. With my own two hands, with my own two hands, I can make peace on earth. With my own two hands, clean up the earth. With my own two hands, I can reach out to you. With my own true hands, with my own two hands. So earlier, some of you jumping into rounds. I was impressed. That was your audition, so you get to sing a little bit more, if you will. Not obligatory, but if you know, own two hands, give it a whirl. Own two, and if harmonies jump out, own two hands. Surprise me. Good, and then we'll wait a sec on that. That was the rehearsal. Here we go on to the third verse. I'll give you a wink when it's time. And gonna make a brighter place with my own two hands, make it a safer place. With my own two hands, gonna help the human race. With my own two hands, with my own two hands. Yeah, you got it. I can hold you with my own two hands. I can comfort you with my own two hands. But you gotta use your own. Use your own two hands. Use your own two hands. One more time. Use your own with your own two hands. Thank you much for that. You sound great.
There we are. It is time for the Time for All Ages today. I have a lovely book for us, so if you would like a nice close look at the pictures, come on up and join me. Howdy. Hello. Everyone is welcome. Good to see you all. Hello. Good morning. Howdy. All right. Our story today is titled Something Someday. It was written by Amanda Gorman and illustrated by Christian Robinson. You are told that this is not a problem, but you're sure there's something wrong. You are told that this cannot be fixed, but you know that you can help. You are told that this is too big for you, but you've seen the tiniest things make a huge difference. You're told that this won't work, but how will you know if you never try? You're told to sit and wait, but you know people have already waited too long. You're told that what's going on is very, very sad, but you're not just sad. You're scared and confused. You're angry. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit hopeful. You're told not to hope, but you keep hoping anyways. Sometimes you feel like you're all alone, but someday, somewhere, you find a friend, someone who will hope with you, who believes in your dream, someone who will fight with you. You make a promise to each other. You say, there is a problem, but it's our problem together, so we can fix it together. This problem is big, but together, we are bigger. You make another friend and tell them it's okay to be sad. And they tell you, sometimes we'll lose, but that's all right. We'll try again. And so do you. And so you do. Together, working, together, beginning, over and over and over and over. Until you're no longer beginning. You're winning. Suddenly, there's something you're sure is right. Something you know you helped fix. Something small that changed something big. Something that worked. Something that makes you feel hopeful, happy, and loved. Something that is not a dream, but the day you live in. Something that makes you smile as you tell someone else. The end. Thank y'all so much for reading with me. Let's head on back.
crucified without love. This is the time during the service when we commit to the mission and ministries of this church by making an offering. We give out of our own so that together we might build a better world. If you are visiting with us today, please allow the plate to pass. You are our guests. You can give in several ways. You can give online or by texting your contribution using the instructions that will be showing on the screen during the offering. Or if you are here in person, by placing an offering in the basket the ushers are about to pass. Here in the sanctuary, the ushers will now collect the offering. Your offerings have been given in love, and your offerings have been received with gratitude. Our reading this morning is The Task of the Religious Community by Mark Morrison Reed. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed.
Let us enter now into a time of centering ourselves together. Let us breathe together. Breathing together, we sense one another's loving presence, even across virtual space. Breathing in, breathing out, we follow our breath to a deeper place inside, a place of greater wisdom, that place where an ocean of divine love flows through each of us. And breathing together, we enter into a time of music and sacred quiet together, remembering that we also hold sacred human sounds, including the sounds of small children. As we enter this time of music and quiet meditation, I invite you to keep in your mind and heart members of our community who are ill or in sorrow, and those who are celebrating joys. Please hold Reverend Art Severance and his family as he continues to recover from heart surgery. Please also keep in your heart Cheryl Croft as she undergoes treatment and recovery from serious illness. And we also lift up Tim Mahoney and Melanie Walter Mahoney. Tim is in hospice at Christopher House, and Melanie remains at his side. We send them much fierce love. Entering the meditative quiet as our music plays, let us hold the meditative quiet throughout, including when our music comes to an end. If you're still lighting a candle, please feel free to continue to do so. We have lit one last candle on our pulpit for all those for whom there is no one to light a candle.
And I hope that this is on. Yes, it is on. Okay, good. Chris, you had already mentioned today at the beginning of the service that we're going to be talking about the new ends statements that the board adopted from all the information that we gathered from the congregation about the dreams for the church. So, as you know, we always say that Unitarian Universalism is non-creedal. So if it's non-creedal, why do we have ends? Why do we have these in place?
Great question. So, Unitarian Universalism is non-creedal. That simply means we don't have a creed. We don't have a statement of belief we all have to sign on to and say, well, I believe this. And so the way that we practice our faith is we rely on our relationships with one another and a set of values that we live in our world. And so that mission statement that we say together every Sunday is what it looks like to live out those values as a church. And the end statements are kind of the strategic priorities for that mission statement, what differences we hope to make and for whom, and how we will make that mission come alive. So it's not a statement of belief, it's about how we're going to live our faith in our world. And I think what I would say that is to me so important about this and why I'm so excited about this service today is that I believe these end statements are deeply spiritual and deeply religious. They are about how we express our faith in the world. So if you're visiting today, if you're new to First UU, the end statements you're going to hear tell you a lot about who we are as a religious community, what lies at the core of our faith and our spirituality. And Karen, finally, I wanted to jump back to, I think, as you brought up our larger faith being non-creedal and all that, that also brings up that we are what's called congregational. We have congregational polity, which means each church rules itself. We're independent. We have a board of trustees that sets the policies. Each church calls its own ministers. And so the way that we are together as a faith, the way all the churches in Unitarian Universalism come together is through a covenant, a set of sacred promises that those churches make to each others that have even a broader slate of religious values centered, as many of you have heard, in love. And so when our church has its own mission and it expresses these end statements, what we're doing is we're saying this is the specific way this church is going to live out that larger faith covenant in the world. They're our specific vision for bringing our faith into our lives, our community, and our world. And so with that said, Karen, what can you share with us about how the board went about working with folks who participate here at First UU to discern how we will live that faith in our world? How did the process play out?
Yeah, and of course, because we are covenantal, we did go through a very specific process that was intended to make sure that we heard everybody in the church in one form or another. Now, typically, we review our end statements every 5 to 7 years, but there was this little thing called COVID that got in our way, and we also had our beloved senior minister leaving us, and so all of that meant that we didn't really go back to look at our end statements until 7 years had passed. So that's when we started doing our review. And the way we did this was very typically UU, I'm just going to say. We have a facilitator to help us come up with our process to make sure that we were really getting the input that we needed from the congregation. And we designed a way to make sure that we had done this. So many, and I'm just going to say most of us, probably felt we had been surveyed to death. You with me on this? Yeah, not filling out another survey. So what we wanted to do was to set up small group listening sessions to get direct input from members. Now, in order to do that, we formed a team to coordinate and then train volunteer facilitators. And we have absolutely fabulous, I think the best facilitators anywhere to do this, to conduct and then actively listen to the participants. And I want to call out their names. The facilitators included Gretchen Reel, Elizabeth Gray, Wendy Erisman, Michael Kersey, Kathleen Ellis, Susan Thompson, Sev Severance, Tony Wegner, and Ann Edwards. And they were really fabulous. Let's give them a round of applause.
Amen.
Yeah. So then we had 11 sessions. We tried to have as many as possible in person, whether it was immediately after church, immediately before church, an evening, Saturday, different times, Zoom, so that we could try to get as many options as possible. And with that, we got about 10% of the congregation, which is a pretty significant amount in this church participating. Then at least one board member actually attended a listening session so that they could do active listening and then report back on what they heard in the session. And then, of course, the board met several times, both as a whole and in subgroups, to review what we had heard and received from the congregation.
Wow, that sounds like a really thorough process. And so now the big moment, let's have the reveal from the process. What did you hear from the congregation about their dreams for the church and the differences it might make in our community and our world?
Well, the very first thing was that we weren't going to mess with our mission statement. Our mission statement, we think, is very well captures what we want to do ourselves and within the larger community. So it absolutely resonates. Now, our facilitator, and let me just say this, AI tools, yes, we used AI tools, helped us analyze reams of material that we developed in our listening sessions. The top priority wishes received from the congregation included, and this is very much of a summary, religious education and fellowship activities for youth and adults, community outreach and visibility, and that means being recognized in Austin as a force for good. Growth and diversity, which includes racial, economic, and age diversity. Social justice and activism, and providing the practical supports that make participation possible. So now, drum roll. Here are the ends that we discerned from what folks told us. And so if I could have the first slide, please. We are a collaborative, pluralistic church living our values and mission in the greater world, achieving together what we can't do alone. Next slide. We are an intergenerational church that invests in and prioritizes spiritual nourishment for all. We commit to the journey of transformative inclusiveness and the lifelong work that it requires. And then finally, we commit to justice in every part of our lives and our church by confronting racism and oppression. Now, we're very excited about these ends and the congregation's vision for what comes next for the church. Now, speaking of what comes next, this is my cue to you. The board will ask you, what is an interpretation of each of these ends that express what you believe is making progress toward the ends? What does this look like in the life of the church and how we might measure that progress? So I'm going to make us go back to each one of these, and then if you would provide some input as to what these means in terms of our interpretations. So, slide please. We'll look at each of these one by one. So, Chris?
So, I just want to say also that as we go through this process, it will be iterative. And what I mean by that is I will bring an interpretation to the board, and they will either go, oh, that's great, that's what we meant, or that's not quite what we meant, go back and work on these things. So over time, I will work with the board, I will work with staff, and importantly, I will ask to work with many of you in leadership at the church to develop what these ends look like in the life of this church. So this first one is all about the social justice activism, outreach, and visibility you all mentioned in the sessions Karen was talking about. It's about partnering with other groups out there, both secular and interfaith. We want to do these partnerships so that we can live our faith more greatly in the world than we can as just one church acting alone. And by doing so, we want to let it be known out there that we can be called upon, that we will, as a church, show up for justice when we're called upon. Now, we're already doing a lot of this, and I want to acknowledge that, but I think we'll particularly be thinking about expanding our interfaith partnerships, so doing even more with Texas UU Justice Ministry, joining in even more so with the interfaith groups in our area, building stronger relationships, particularly around justice with other local churches, UU and otherwise, and reestablishing some of the anti-racism groups that we've worked with as a church in the past have disbanded, so we need to form new relationships with anti-racism groups in the area to help do that work. We work a lot with nonprofits that are providing services in the area, and we want to continue and expand that work so that we don't recreate the wheel. We don't need to be providing services that others are already out there doing. We want to support them so we're not competing with them for resources, and so that we as a church can concentrate on the systemic issues that are causing the needs for those services in the first place. And we will rely on all of you, and especially our social justice pillars, our social action team, to help us form those relationships.
Now, next slide, please. We are an intergenerational church that invests in and prioritizes spiritual nourishment for all.
Yeah, this is a big one. And we hear a lot and have a lot of conversations about this in the church. This one is all about how we are all accountable for religious education, for faith development, for spiritual nourishment of every person that comes in these doors, and of fellowship happening throughout all of the life of this church. One of our Unitarian Universalist stars as far as religious education and faith development is named Connie Goodbread, and I love this quote from Connie. She says, "Faith development is all we do. Unitarian Universalism is the faith we teach. The congregation is the curriculum." And so we want to get everyone in this church in all areas of the church. Metaphorically, yes, but I even mean physically. So for those of us that are normally on this end of the building, and we're not back there in the RE wings where the classroom is very often, we want to get everybody going back there, not just the people that volunteer in the RE wing. And so we're thinking about some things like maybe we do fellowship events, or maybe even worship on a nice day out on the playground, so we all have to walk through the whole building. Same thing for the folks that spend a lot of the time in RE. We want to start inviting them into worship with us and have people of all ages right up here on the platform helping us do worship here in the church. I think to fulfill this one, we're going to have to invest more in our religious education program. We need more staff, and we eventually need to tear down those classrooms and start over to express our commitment to faith development across the life of this church. I think we're going to be thinking about what does faith development and spiritual nourishment look like going forward, because we need to ask the question, is the purely classroom educational model still working for us for faith development, or do we need some things like age-appropriate worship happening for everyone of all ages in this church, age-appropriate spiritual practices going on with our children and youth, for example, embodied experiences for people of all ages. And then I think finally, we want to continue to look at a wide variety of musical styles here in worship, a wide variety of different sorts of sermon topics, wide variety of service formats, doing something a little different like we're doing today, so that we meet the full range of faith development needs that are out there, involving people, again, of all ages. And I think finally, all the things that we do through our First UU Cares, creating that culture of care in the church, is a big part of spiritual nourishment also.
And then next slide. We commit to the journey of transformative inclusiveness and the lifelong work it requires.
So this one is all about how we will try to become even more welcoming and inclusive. And I think to do that, we want to help all of us with some skills for having and adopting a sense of humility and curiosity that doesn't assume that I know what it feels like to feel included for someone else. I think that's how growth and diversity happens. And so that means we get curious, we ask, and we know that we will make mistakes, and we're ready to apologize. And again, providing folks with training and tools to do this. Let me give you some examples. I am a cis male. I've identified as male my whole life. And so for me to say that I know what would feel welcoming as a trans person would make no sense at all. I have to ask, I have to educate myself, I have to find out. I'm 63 years old. What was welcoming for me when I was a young adult may not be the same in the world we live in now. And so again, I have to ask young adults, what would be meaningful for you in this church? And so again, providing resources and training on being welcoming, on including people, on anti-racism, anti-oppression, and multiculturalism for everyone in the church, and modeling this, again, going back to the intergenerational end, modeling this for all ages in the church, because our prejudices, white supremacy, that's the water we swim in our culture. And so we need to model for the generation that comes after us how to do this. So the work isn't just lifelong for me, it is lives long in the life of this church, so that we become better ancestors for the people that will be in this church after us.
And then next slide, please. We commit to justice in every part of our lives and our church by confronting racism and oppression.
So this end calls us to center that do justice part of our mission and the anti-racism and anti-oppression work inherent in building the beloved community in every part of our church life, as well as take that home into our own daily lives. And for those of us who still work, take it with us to work every day and do that work out in the world. And again, this will involve the church providing tools, resources, and training so that we can engage in even more of this action out in the world and are able to interrupt oppression and racism when we see it happening. I know for me, I'll be in a meeting and something will happen and I'll go, what just got said, that sounded a little off to me, that sounded a little racist. And as I'm thinking that, 5 minutes have gone by and the meeting has gone on, and then I'm going, should I bring it up now because it happened 5 minutes ago? And so providing the skills that will make me feel like, yes, I can interrupt. I can 5 minutes later say, you know what, can we stop a minute? Something happened a few minutes ago that I think we really need to talk about, so that we can really carry our anti-racism, anti-oppression work with us wherever we go and know how to do that. So those are just a few examples the staff and I have already been thinking about, and I am really excited and looking forward to working with folks to bring these ends to life in the life of the church.
7 years. Lots of things have changed in 7 years, and I'm going to say that personally I am very excited about the new ends that you all shared ideas for the board to then put into place for the entire congregation. I think they're going to bring clarity to First UU as we live that mission, both individually and collectively. And I would close with many, many thanks to the board, our wonderful facilitators, and everybody who made the time to participate in a listening session, and everybody else in the congregation as you bring forth your ideas as we try to live these ends ourselves in our lives and further in our congregation. I just hope that you're as excited as we are about this vision for our church going forward, and thank you so much.
Please rise in either body or spirit and let us sing together hymn number 1018 from the Teal hymnal, Come and Go With Me.
Here we go. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Could we stop for 1 second? You know I love you, right? Okay. Friends do not let friends clap on 1 and 3. Let's practice this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take it from the top. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Freedom. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land. There will be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Justice. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land where I'm bound. Singing. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land where I'm bound. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land where I'm bound. There you go. Woo-hoo.
Please join me in the words by which we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again.
We invite you now, as our service nears its close, to go out into our world with us to nourish souls, our own and others, together.
Go out in our world together to transform lives, our own and others.
Go out into our world together to do justice.
Go out in our world together to join with so many others to build the beloved community.
May the congregation say, Amen.
And blessed be.
Go in peace.